Little Pig Deng, the famous pygmy hippo cub at Khao Kheow Open Zoo, is currently attracting attention from people around the world and making fans crazy about its cuteness. However, few people know that its friends and relatives, most of whom live in the forests of Africa, are currently declining in numbers to the point of near extinction and may quietly disappear from this world in the near future. Thousands of people have been flocking to see the cuteness of the 2-month-old piggy every day for the past few weeks. During one weekend, there were as many as 20,000 visitors to watch the piggy eat and play like a chubby pygmy hippo cub who loves to jump around. Moodang has recently become a favorite of the zoo, garnering attention from social media and news agencies around the world, to the point of inspiring someone to start a makeup tutorial, emphasizing applying pink blush to imitate the piggy. This video clip, along with other clips of the baby pygmy hippo, went viral overnight. However, the fame of the piggy cub did not help its family and species. Escaped from various dangers in nature. Because in addition to the pygmy hippo being endangered, they are also rare animals that live secretly in the forests of West Africa, which is the main habitat that is shrinking and being destroyed all the time. Pygmy hippos are the smallest hippopotamus species in the world. It is registered as an endangered animal on the Red List of the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN. The latest survey in 2015 indicated that there were less than 2,500 adult pygmy hippos in the wild. It is estimated that they have become extinct in Nigeria. Previously, Nigeria was one of the countries in West Africa with the largest number of pygmy hippos. However, it is estimated that there are still small populations of pygmy hippos in Liberia, Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, Guinea, and Sierra Leone. Pygmy hippos usually live in forest areas far from the coast. They like to stay near rivers, streams, or ponds to keep their skin. Although hippos are highly valued by local cultures, they are actually very secretive animals, and scientific research on them has rarely been conducted, compared to their larger relatives. Hippos are nocturnal, sneaky, and often live alone, making research on hippos in the wild very difficult. Because of their reclusive nature, scientists have had to learn about hippos through camera traps, sometimes tracking their footprints or other signs, and occasionally collecting samples of their feces. The use of computer models to estimate their numbers and assess their movements is also helping scientists better understand the mammals. The NGO Fauna and Flora International and the Forestry Development Authority of Liberia have used environmental DNA, EDNA, technology to search for traces of hippos in river systems in the southeastern region of the country. The method primarily involves analyzing DNA fragments found in their habitats. A shrinking habitat. Although hippos have been protected for decades, PYGMY Bandama, a researcher at the Swiss Center for Scientific Research in Ivory Coast, says efforts to study hippos in the wild have only been stepped up since 2010, after pressures on their habitats increased dramatically. Large areas of Ivory Coast's original forests have been destroyed or degraded, such as by logging to make way for palm oil, cocoa, and rubber plantations. In addition, growing demand for timber is another threat to Liberia's forests. Despite government efforts to curb illegal logging, many locals still cut down trees for firewood. However, the biggest threat is illegal mining in Ivory Coast's Tai National Park. Bougoui says that people are digging and panning for gold in the water sources, which is affecting the hippo's habitat and its natural survival. Gabriella Flack, a veterinarian who advises on the IUCN's conservation plan to save the hippo from extinction, says the species is particularly vulnerable to this loss. They have nowhere to go. The hippo's home range is shrinking, which means there is less space for them to forage and behave naturally, and less space for them to breed and the ecosystem they need. What's worse is that hippo species are not adaptable to the many different landscapes and often have very limited habitats. They have nowhere to go. The hippo's home range is shrinking, which means there is less space for them to forage and behave naturally, and less space for them to reproduce and the ecosystem they need, he says. The hunt for their meat is still ongoing, making research and conservation efforts on the species even more difficult. Although hippos are protected by law in their habitats, which cover all 4 countries in West Africa, enforcement varies from region to region. Ivory Coast is best equipped because it has more resources and infrastructure for this, and it is politically stable, compared to Liberia or Sierra Leone, Flack said. Bougoui, who is conducting research on hippos in Ivory Coast's Tai National Park, says it is the largest protected primary rainforest in West Africa and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It provides hippos with suitable habitat, food sources, and, above all, legal protection, although it does not guarantee 100% safety. Bougoui estimates that there are currently 800 to 1,000 hippos in Tai National Park, and the Ivory Coast government has been promoting conservation efforts through measures such as planting more trees and tighten laws protecting pygmy hippos. Liberia was the first country to establish a national strategy for pygmy hippo conservation in 2013, supported by the nonprofit Fauna and Flora International. Since then, research has shown that Sapa National Park, the vast majority of the unspoiled Upper Guinea forest ecosystem, is a stronghold for a large pygmy hippo population. News Estella, Fauna and Flora International's technical specialist for West Africa, says the primary goal of the strategy is to create conservation corridors in the southeast of the country to connect the dispersed pygmy hippo populations, with landscape-level assessments to identify suitable sites. However, poverty and corruption remain major obstacles to conservation efforts and addressing habitat loss. Fauna and Flora International has found a solution by working with governments and local communities to implement projects under the UN's REDD+ Forest Conservation Plan, which will address the underlying causes of deforestation and forest degradation, while supporting the livelihoods of local people and respecting their land rights. A pilot project supported by Basel Zoo in Switzerland has encouraged local youth living near the Gola Forest in Sierra Leone and Liberia to act as pygmy hippo conservation ambassadors, while the Pygmy Hippo Foundation has trained locals to become community forest rangers to monitor and protect the pygmy hippo population in Sapa National Park. Despite decades of research on pygmy hippos in both the wild and in zoos, there is still much we don't know about them. For example, Flack wants to learn more about the range of habitats they live in and whether their behaviors are similar in the wild and in zoos. Scientists believe that pygmy hippos play an important role in local ecosystems, possibly dispersing seeds and circulating nutrients through their feces, and possibly modifying the structure of riverbanks. There are around 450 pygmy hippos in captivity worldwide, but they can be overly distracted by visitors, stressing or putting the shy animals at risk. Just like when someone made noise and threw things at the bouncy pig a few weeks ago, Khao Kheow Open Zoo had to step up security around the pygmy hippo pond. PYGMY said that while the zoo could help preserve endangered animals, it would be better if we could keep their natural habitat intact and not be destroyed. The latest assessment of the pygmy hippo population in the wild, conducted by the IUCN, will be released next year, and she expects the population of pygmy hippos in the wild in West Africa to decline again. We know they are still there, but there are some groups that have not been seen for more than 20 years. There are no footprints, no piles of feces, no bite marks. I wonder where they have all gone, but they must be gone.